Welcome to another Sunday Spark, your weekly dose of actionable wisdom and a gentle nudge toward a healthier way of life and to achieving success. Today, we're putting the spotlight on a massive cultural phenomenon. What is it? It's hustle culture. So if you've ever caught yourself chasing the next deadline, fueled by coffee, stress, and maybe a dash of panic, this episode is for you. Over the next few minutes, we're going to cover why hustle can be so addictive, how to harness that state of flow, and some practical tips for integrating less hustle and more flow into your journey. Ready to think you want to go forward and mind the grind? Well, let's dive in. Hey there, welcome to the Sunday Spark, where we ditch those Sunday scaries and ignite some serious inspiration before the work week. I'm Faye Chappell, your semi-sassy guide and the founder of the Regeneration Company, and I'm here to help you crush burnout, brainstorm big ideas, and remember that success should actually feel good. So grab your coffee, strap in, and let's spark some insight. Hey, high achievers and weary go-getters. I'm Faye Chappell, and I'm coming to you from our studio where we believe in building a life that's both wildly successful and genuinely sustainable. In this Sunday Spark episode, we're diving deep into less hustle and more flow. So if you're like most people, you've been taught that work hard should look like a constant hustle, right? Early mornings, late nights, never-ending to-do lists, but that's not what it's all about. Not only is that not the route to greatness, it won't get you anywhere, but perhaps in bed. But what you really need to do to get to that route to greatness, you need to hit a state of flow. You're not just grinding, you're aligned, you're efficient, you're creative, and even happy while you work. Think about that, happy while you work. Today, we're going to explore exactly how to make that shift. So let's start in our entrepreneur's corner. Let's start with all you solopreneurs, your freelancers, your small business owners. My people who wake up every day thinking, I gotta make this happen today. Hustle is seductive, right? It's an instant ego boost. There's a certain pride in saying, I worked 70 hours this week. It feels like proof is there, right? You're pushing hard and you're gonna make it. And you browse social media and you'll see countless rise and grind memes. Society rewards us if we're exhausted with like a badge of honor, right? But what's the hidden cost of all this? Well, you end up ending up in a burnout spiral, right? Hustle mode drains your mental and physical reserves, and over time, your productivity, it plummets, and your passion, well, it fizzles out. And you miss opportunities for innovation because when you're in perpetual hustle, you rarely pause to question whether you're hustling in the right direction. Creative breakthroughs require mental white space, a luxury that you never have because why? You're always on. So flow is essentially the game changer. How do we get there? Well, it's focused effort. Flow means diving deep into tasks that matter, ignoring the noise of lesser priorities. Do we get that? Right? Diving deep into tasks that actually matter. And when that happens, you get this natural rhythm, right? So instead of forcing productivity at all hours, you align your high impact tasks with your peak energy windows, right? So if you're really energetic in the morning, that's when your high impact tasks should be done. So what's the action step here? Well, I want you to pick one major goal that truly moves the needle. And I want you to block out 1 to 2 hour window this week, to tackle it undisturbed. No notifications, no multitasking, just pure focus. You might be amazed at how much you can get done when you're not hustling all over the place. I remember launching my first digital product, working 14-hour days with no breaks. I was so proud until I realized the actual output was not exactly up to my standards. So I switched to a flow-based approach, 3 to 4 hours of deep work, and then I rest. That way I doubled my quality. I did less time and better results. Who knew that was going to happen? But it happened to me, and it probably would happen to you. So corporate environments often revolve around back-to-back meetings, right? insane email chains and the unspoken rule that if you're not available 24/7, you're not committed. So let's unpack how this fosters group hustle, right? And how we can shift towards group flow, right? So there is collective hustle, right? And there's a downside to it. Collective hustle really creates chronic stress culture, right? So if the leaders model hustle by sending midnight emails and employees feel the pressure to respond, then they become exhausted. And then what happens? Reduced team morale. When burnout hits, sick days and turnover spike, talented team members may leave for healthier workplaces. That all costs the company time and resources. So being in that constant motion looks productive, but also leads to mistakes, duplicated efforts, even half-finished products. So how do we nurture the flow in teams? Well, flow-focused management encourages managers to block out, again, deep work periods where employees are not interrupted by meetings, right? Sometimes we get stuck in meeting after meeting and nothing gets done. We need to realign the priorities and identify those top 3 objectives for the quarter and make everyone's priority those priorities, rather than expecting each team member to juggle 10 different tasks and still look after the priorities, right? And we need to send really healthy boundaries to our team. We need to teach the team that it's okay, actually it's essential, to not answer emails after hours if it's not urgent. Trust me, the world does not end if a reply comes at 9 a.m. instead of midnight, right? Think of companies that have core hours like 10 to 2, right? When they hold these essential meetings. The rest of the time is flow time. It's dedicated to focused work. So this approach might be one that you can use at your company. 10 to 2 is the only time you hold meetings. After that, people are free to flow into what they need to. If you're a manager, try just removing just one recurring meeting this week, right? That might really not be necessary, and give that time back to the team for heads down work. You're going to likely see a ripple effect of better results and a happier crew. I know when I was working for a certain company, we had to, every single Monday morning, the entire team had to get on conference call and talk about the numbers, even though everyone had their numbers in front of them for the week. It was actually a little silly, because what we were doing is repeating something that we could have done in about 10 seconds if we'd read the email. So think about what you're doing and how much time you're taking away from the team where they could be productive. So no matter where you work or what you do, the concept of less hustle, more flow hits home even for personal development. Let's explore why hustle can sabotage your own well-being and how flow can kind of nurture it. Self-worth and the busy trap, we often equate busyness with worthiness, right? If you're not doing something, you feel guilty, but the rest is not a luxury, right? Rest is a requirement for optimal mental health, right? So you need to shift your mindset and celebrate your productivity and your recovery. Both matter, not just one. You have to think about the benefits if you can get into flow, right? One of the big ones that everyone talks about is stress reduction. When you're in a flow state, time seems to speed up in a good way. You're not constantly checking your time, your cortisol levels drop, and you feel a sense of calm even while you're working. You improve your learning. Research really shows that people absorb new skills faster when they engage them in a flow state, as opposed to forcing themselves to do it while grinding through. And the third, and I love this, is sustainable rhythm is what I like to call it, because hustle might get you a short-term spike in output, but flow gives you a sustainable cadence, right, that you can maintain over months or years. You have a natural flow, you get everything done. You've met those people, right? They can work 10 to 3 and they get so much done. They're always happy. They never stress because they've maintained that flow, right? So how do we invite flow into our lives daily, our own lives? Number one is, like we talk about on entrepreneurs, take micro breaks. So every 60 to 90 minutes, take a 5-minute break. Stand up, stretch, breathe, do some mindfulness, take a walk, whatever you want. Just 5 minutes every 60 to 90 minutes. That will completely reset your rhythm. Make sure you think about tech boundaries. This is a tough one for a lot of us, including me. You want to turn off non-essential notifications, right? Or put it in do not disturb mode for a chunk of time each day so that you can actually nurture uninterrupted focus, right? There's nothing worse than we might be doing a presentation or we're writing a paper and then a telephone call comes in and we pick it up and we go back to our work and we don't know where we are and the flow is no longer there. So chunk out that time. And then get active in your leisure. When you have downtime, opt for activities that engage you, like maybe painting or playing an instrument or taking a walk, rather than endless social doom scrolling. That doesn't really help with flow. Flow is as much about what you don't do, like juggling 6 directions at once, as what you do focus on. So you want to give yourself permission to do less more effectively. There's a really great, one of my favorite quotes, which is, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished, right? That's a really great one. It's really one of my favorites for a reason. It reminds us that the most powerful forces in the universe, from growing trees to flowing rivers, operate steadily with no frantic rush. And when we align with that kind of rhythm, we can be incredibly productive and maintain that peace of mind. So if you're intrigued by the idea of less hustle, more flow, and you want hands-on guidance, then again, join us on Sunday mornings at our 7 a.m. club, because each week we do guided meditation, breath work, journaling, and a few other things, and it all relates to this topic. It's integrated. So if you want to join us on Sunday mornings at 7, we'll be talking about the same topic that we are on this podcast, but we're going to work at it. So we'll do some techniques along the way. So that's a wrap on less hustle, more flow. And if you take just one thing away, let it be this: that hustle culture isn't the only path to success. In fact, it may be the path that leads to quick burnout and long-term dissatisfaction. Flow, on the other hand, is sustainable, satisfying, surprisingly effective, and it really does bring results. So give yourself permission this week to slow down, to focus, and to find ease in your efforts. You might discover that in doing less, you actually accomplish more with a clearer mind and a happier spirit. So share the spark if you have a friend or colleague in the throes of hustle mania. Send them this episode. You could be doing them and their mental health a big, big favor. And join us at Mastermind City. We're a global network of entrepreneurs, creators, and professionals who share resources, celebrate wins without glorifying the grind. So again, I'm Faye Chappell, and this has been your Sunday Spark. May your week be filled with fewer forced tasks and more authentic flow. And remember, the best ideas often appear when you're not sprinting to keep up. So give yourself space to breathe. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next time. Well, you've just had your Sunday Spark. How's that for a power-packed start to the week? If you're ready for more tips, laughs, and let's get real moments, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with all of your friends and your crew. Got questions, insights, or just want to say hey? Well, head over to my website, fayechappell.com, or any of the social media feeds, and I will be with you there. Until next time, keep that spark alive, and remember, your best life doesn't just happen, you have to create it.